In today's video, we're going to be talking about the 5 gifts that you should be considering getting your filmmaker friend for the upcoming holidays. Gift number one, obviously, the main thing that we all need, a camera. You have a massive choices to pick for different cameras. I, for one, work on the Sony system.
Alpha.
I think the Sony A7 IV is still a great camera to get for your friend. I know Sony just released the A7 V this year. That's something also to consider. If they are deeply into cinematography and you want to keep it within budget, you can get the FX30. I think that's an affordable cinematic camera to get into. It is APS-C, but a gift is a gift. You don't want to break the bank. But if you have a little bit of cash, you can get them the FX3. I highly recommend it. I'm told Panasonic has some great cameras that they just put out this year. I'm told Red, you can never go wrong with Red, but that gets tight on the budget. It'll be tighter for them to get memory storage for that system. You may also want to look into Blackmagic cameras. They are quite decent, I've been told. So you have quite a lot of options to pick for them. If it's somebody starting out, if it's your kid, you can get them in the A series for the Sony. I think right now there's the A6400, the A7C2 just came out as well this year. So you have a lot to play with. No excuses. The Sony ZV series as well is one also quite good. I know Canon has their own. I'm not a Canon user, but if that's a brand that your friend, son, relative likes, you may consider getting them that. The next thing that you want to get them is a tripod. When I started doing YouTube, I just bought an Amazon basic tripod. It was quite cheap. I thought, why spend so much money on this? I spent so much money on the camera. But one thing is, when you start to level up and when you start getting these expensive cameras, the risk of it falling is high, and you don't want your camera to fall on the ground because of a cheap tripod, right? So an Amazon basic tripod was good enough for an entry-level camera like a ZV-1 or like a A6400 or like a Canon M50. It's not really wise to put your $5,000 camera on that, like your FX3 or FX6. So at that level, you want to start investing in decent tripods. You're looking at the $200 budget, $300 budget. Tripods go all the way up to 50,000. So it all depends on what the budget is. So you want to consider that, especially, let's say last year you got your friend a beautiful camera, or they bought themselves a beautiful camera this year. A decent tripod, $500 and up, will take them a long way. And these are things that you buy once and you never have to buy again. I would recommend fluid head type of tripod. So you're looking at, I think the most affordable ones, you're looking at Small Rig. Newer is a brand that's tricky. You may want to look into Newer for those who are on a budget level. And then there's a brand called, I think it's Sactor, which you can look into. If you go on B&H and you just look for fluid head tripods, these are quite affordable, but a little bit more expensive, and they give that steadiness. Imagine you go on a cliff or somewhere and you're taking a video and it's on an Amazon basic tripod and the wind blows and the tripod flies and there goes the camera. So yeah, this is a good gift to get your friend for this Christmas. The third gift that I recommend is a field monitor. So one thing that happens a lot is, while we like these cameras, the A7 IVs, the A7 Vs, a lot of the latest Sony cameras is they have the flip up screen. You can do a lot with the screen. But one of the main things you find yourself, especially if you're just a content creator, is shooting videos like this where you don't know what the camera is looking at, because you can have the screen looking at you as you're sitting, but you can't really tell if it's in focus or not. You can't really tell, stuff like that. A field monitor gives you that. It allows you to see certain things that you couldn't see just on the little screen monitor. Also, if you're outside, so if you're a cinematographer, if you're working on the field, having a monitor where you can load LUTs, which helps you with different exposure tools, false color. Sony doesn't give you that, but in your monitor you can have false color. If you get them the Atmos Ninja, they can record RAW on their Sony camera. So these are a little bit more functionalities that these tools give you, which can be quite handy. I remember the first time that I was the first AC on a set, having, the way that those guys were operating, I could focus pull far away from the camera. and having a decent field monitor that day, it really helped us because it not only added on top of focus tools that the camera gave us. We were using the Canon C300. It added on top of that, and that allowed us not to all crouch around the camera. And also, like, it just helps with exposure. As I said, things like false color, things like histograms that are easily readable. These screens, was great, they're really tiny, whilst field monitors tend to be a little bit bigger, and they're not that big, but they are really, they become really useful and handy, and they also can get quite expensive if you're not really careful about it. I've used newer. I'm not really a fan. It's hard to understand how to even use it. I've used the Porta Keys one. I've used there's a bunch that we had in my school. I would recommend getting the Atomos Ninja 5 as an entry level. I know in Canada it's like $500 Canadian, and I think that is a decent one to get someone as a gift. They should be appreciative if you get them that. You can do more research on these. You want to look at the functionality that they give the filmmaker and what they allow them to do. Fourth gift that I would recommend is getting them a pocket-sized video light. So one of the videos that I made over time, I spoke about how I was on set and there was no lighting. And there's this little light that I walk around with in my backpack for just in case I see a nice thing that I want to take a video of during the night. And it became handy. And I'm only able to carry it around with me because it's not heavy and it doesn't add much weight to my backpack. A small size light can be very useful for your cinematography friends, for your content creators. You never know where you're at. Maybe you guys are out camping and you want to record that night and you want to have a conversation and you want to put up a camera and light yourselves, and there you go. So having something that tiny that doesn't add too much stress is a very beautiful gift to hand somebody. I wish somebody had gifted me more. In terms of which brands that I would say, I've recently fallen in love with everything Aperture and Amaran. So you look within those brands. I know they're quite expensive, but they're on Amazon. You see, once you search up an Aperture light, you see the different, I don't want to say knockoffs of it, but you see different varieties of it that are also affordable. These things rack up from $30 to $100. So you are looking at something that can help you and your friend in the long run. The fifth gift, this is something that people don't really think about, but an acrylic film clapboard with an eraser. Clapboards, man, like once you start getting into making things like short films, documentaries, things that require post-production editing, that's not just like this where you sit down and record it and then edit it. Things that will require you syncing audio. These things become handy and they help you, especially with organization. Try editing a short film without proper slating, and it's only a nightmare because unless you're using DaVinci, where it helps you track and it helps you with syncing, or you have time code. Such a thing is very useful for finding videos. A good slate is an editor's best friend, and it helps your cinematographer friend just level up and separate themselves from people who rely on so that's something that I'll look for. Additional gifts, if you, let's say your friend already has these things, additional gifts that I'll get them: one, get them a subscription to one of the music services, whether it's Epidemic Sound, Artlist, Music Bed, any of these things help enhance the type of videos that people make. The music, the score, it creates that feeling, that makes your video special. So I'll look into, I have Epidemic Sound. I'll leave my link in the bio or in the description for you to get a discount on it. You can get it as a gift. Another platform that I would suggest is Masterclass. They allow you to buy Masterclass as a gift for your friend, which they get a lot of lessons from so many renowned professionals. People like the guy who wrote The Social Network. You have people like Shonda Rhimes, you have Chris Jenner, you have all these great people on this platform just giving out knowledge that you will not be able to get somewhere else. So I'll suggest getting the Masterclass. An additional bonus is headphones. So I'm sitting here, I have the Audio Technica headphones with me. I mainly use this when I'm doing the podcast. They just help you monitor what you're doing, and Having quality headphones is something that's very useful, especially on set or especially when you're doing things like documentaries and you're recording it. You can hear what you're doing in real time. With that said, let me know in the comment section which other gifts you'd recommend for your filmmaking friends. If you're a filmmaker, what gifts would you want your friends to get you this upcoming holiday season? Seeing you guys in the next one.